I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay.
That's why I say disregard the guff. A Q&A with Emma Fildes, specialist London buying agent extraordinaire. Let me start by welcoming you to my home in London. This is the first time we've met.
It is the first time we've met.
I've really been enjoying your Twitter feeds and your graphics and that pinned tweet that you've got, which shows all the different house price indices. Everyone needs to see that. Go and see Emma's Twitter. I'll link to it definitely under this video anyway. But in this video, I asked many of you on Twitter and YouTube for your questions for Emma, and you have delivered. Yeah, the very first question wasn't about London at all. Charlie, can you not do anything like this up in the Northwest to raise awareness here? Everything seems to be focused on London, not you. I just mean in general. All right, let's kick off with this question. Tom Williams on Twitter asks, will housing in London ever again be affordable to lower middle income earners?
Oh, it's okay. So that's a loaded question, isn't it? It's what's affordable.
It's just your opinion on that question, yeah.
In terms of, do I think I'm maybe slightly more reserved than you in terms of the price crash, but it's not going to sort of dive down into affordable levels that maybe historically we once had. Okay. So the reality of that is probably not, depending on your budget, obviously. Prices are obviously going down. Yeah. Do I think they're going down 30%? No.
No, well, that's London. I haven't made a prediction on London prices.
Okay, that's fine.
My 35% figure is national average.
Okay.
With regional variations that will vary from minus 15%.
Yeah.
So the lowest or the smallest falls regionally, I'm saying will be about 15%.
Yeah.
Over the peak to trough period, however long that takes.
Yeah.
And the biggest will be 50%. In the biggest drop regions. And I'm thinking that's going to take about 3 years total to reach that. But yeah, that's just my view. But so in a word, your answer to him is no.
No, not really. Unfortunately, I do think prices are going down. They are definitely going down, but not to a level where you're suddenly going to pick up something for 200.
Okay, so you heard it here first. London buying agent Emma Fildes says no, London will never again be affordable to lower middle income people.
Well, I mean,
it's true.
Depends what you earn.
I agree with you. No, he's specified lower middle income.
Yeah.
It's a brutal reality, isn't it?
It's the capital.
Yeah.
There's a lot of demand.
It's one of the most famous cities in the world. More than half of all buyers are overseas buyers.
Yeah, and it's always the first to recover, after a downturn. So, you've just got to, unfortunately.
But in London, you're competing more with international buyers than anywhere else, aren't you? That's what makes it so hard here.
Yeah, and investors and people who are looking for pied-à-terres who have that extra income that they can invest in the city, especially if they've got rail strikes and have had enough having moved out to the country.
Yeah.
We'll have a base in London now.
Mark Rowe on Twitter asks, and can buyers generally assume leasehold duplex/maisonettes are safe from exorbitant charges compared to high-rises?
Okay, so if you've got a high rise, you've also got service charges on top of it. You've got a managing agent managing a big block of flats, so they usually command more. They're going to charge you more for it. On a maisonette, typically you have more control over how much you're going to be charged. If you don't like it, you can all band together. It's much easier to do. But leasehold, whatever property you buy, you have to remember you will always have to spend money on it. Everything has wear and tear. Everything over time needs improving.
So Craig Carter on YouTube asks, I've considered using a buying agent before. However, now that we're in a falling market where it's much easier to negotiate the price down, is it really worth it? And if so, how would you convince me that taking up your services is the right choice?
The whole point of a buying agent generally is to save time, money and energy, and that they know the market and how best to work the discount for you. So yes, there are discounts out there, but a buying agent hopefully will get you more of a discount and also know how to put it in a way that it will be received in the right way, which is really, really important. Because going in saying, hey, it's 20% off, it's not going to work.
No.
They just won't talk to you again.
That's a really valuable point.
It's messy, and so many people are picking all the forecasts, saying I can say this with great authority, and it backfires. You really need to do your research. You need to know what comparables there are, and look at the comparables not just as figures, but was the property done up? Was it in disrepair? That all affects how you then can put the offer forward. Because if you say, well, yes, you did achieve that for the property next door, but it was in brilliant condition, it had views of the river, this doesn't. You need to know those sort of finite details. And it's the time it takes to look into all of that, which people
you've made
have.
You've made a really valid point there, which is that the tone and the style of the approach to the agent will make a massive difference to the likelihood of getting an offer or even getting a negotiation opened.
Yeah, and it's your rapport with agents. And every single property that you look at, there is a different rapport and a different energy, and it's it's picking out how the agent is, but also what the seller is. It's really important to get all the information about the seller to know how to work it to your advantage.
Absolutely. Well, I say it to people a lot when they're asking about how do I know to negotiate. I said the first question I would always ask an agent is, what's the seller's position? What's their reason for moving? Which again, and this is why you can't value properties from an algorithm or a computer, right? Because the whatever value a property might have, the amount it will sell for is going to be influenced by the seller's motivations, needs, etc. Can I add a question to Craig's question, which is, so to give people an idea what a London buying agent does, what are the lowest value properties that you work with as a buying agent? Because that will kind of give people an idea about what level of the market it economically makes sense to use a buying agent.
So in terms of, for me, I have such a varied range of clients. So they start from first-time buyers, which I have dealt with budgets of 450, and usually they are restricted by that because of the leaser. So I've done searches outside of London at 450, up to just under 10 million. It's a really wide spectrum. So there's some of the people at the lower end have been investors who are just looking for rental investments. And then there's lots of first-time buyers who've come to me, which I was surprised about, but wanted that security of having someone who was protecting their interests, who wasn't a family member, who didn't have sort of an agenda, who would honestly say to them, is this right? That isn't right. And I'd be able to have that debate and protect them. And that's what I love doing, is protecting people and getting the good long-term result for them.
Well, you and me both, actually. Because it's amazing how many first-time buyers I get messaging me saying, Charlie, could you please just do a rundown, start to finish, top to bottom? What do we need to know? Where do we start? What is the process? There's nothing out there. We can't find it. It's just overwhelming and intimidating and scary. And we want to be well prepared and well researched, but it's really hard because everywhere you look, there's just this, everyone's pushing their own agendas, and so it's very hard to get it. So it doesn't surprise me that you're first-time buyers actually as clients at all.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a cracker. Neil on YouTube asks, Charlie predicts 35%-ish peak to trough drop. What's Emma's prediction? I'm assuming he means London. And I'd like to ask you that because I don't have a London figure. People have asked me for one and I've gone, I don't know.
It's tricky because to get a deposit in London is obviously much more expensive than anywhere else in the country. But because we were talking about earlier about how many people want to be in London, there is always people who want to buy. There's lots of people from the States who are cashing in because the dollar, they're all buying here. I think it's going to not drop below 10%.
Okay, peak to trough London.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, I do think you'll know very clearly in the first 6 months of this year of how it will then phase out over the next 6 months into 2024. So what we will see as we sort of progress through the first half of the year will then sort of give a much clearer indication, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So I don't know. It could fall a lot more. Yeah. But I think there's enough security there that it won't. And lots of people will sit it out and wait it out for him.
So let me ask a difficult question, which...
Yeah. Don't hold me to that, though.
No. Like you said, I mean, you can't. No one can be held to it. So you're saying that at the moment, and we're in February.
We're in February.
What?
We're in February, 2nd of February. No, I can't get my head around that. I'm still in New Year.
No, it's still Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're February 2023, and at the moment, your estimate, which I agree is a completely meaningless figure anyway, because every single kind of property type region, location of borough is different. But you're saying that the overall London, so you're saying London will fall less than the rest of the country, unless you think the rest of the country is not going to go down 10%.
Right, well, I don't know how you're saying 35% the rest of the country. I don't know whether it's going to fall that.
Well, you know that yesterday nationwide prices have already come off almost 6%.
I know, but
already.
I don't know. I think what I'm seeing, and I'm talking very much from a street level, that there are people out there buying.
Oh yeah.
And they are prepared to move on it.
But that's a different point, though. I'm not saying I know people out there buying. Yeah. I mean, all the guys chasing me every day are people who want to buy.
But I think the thing is, the sellers are not prepared to drop at the moment, no. And that's the difference. And whether they can afford to sit it out, and this is different markets. Yeah. So when we say 30, 20, 10%, whatever, 5%, it depends where that property is in the market. The lower end, you will see bigger drops. The top end, you won't see as bigger drops.
Okay.
Because they don't need to sell, and they will sit it out. And they are sitting it out.
Yes. Yeah. That's a very fair point. I remain, in terms of what happens to the higher price band property market and how far those prices come down, I'm seeing such mixed.
This is the whole point.
Such mixed things where the people who need to sell, because perhaps they're more highly leveraged than they wanted to be, are dropping quite large numbers off their asking prices.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a very, very good agent friend in North London who the client insisted on going on at 2.4.
Yeah.
And the agent said to them, that's a mistake. You won't get it. We're going to get 1.9 or 2 if we're lucky. And if you wait, it might be less. And the agent was right. And they've had to take $500,000 off their asking price. But then you're others who don't need to sell.
There's a lot who don't need to sell.
But then why would they put it on the market? This is, you see, there's this fascination amongst buyers about, well, are they selling or are they not selling?
So we're talking the top end. It mystifies me, but I do think that let's say we're in the 7-8 million bracket here.
Well, rich people are so weird, aren't they?
I'm not saying anything. Clients, no. But it's almost like they're going, I'm going to get chipped anyway. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go punchy. And then you're going to think, hey, didn't you get such a good discount? But we're going to try it because there's not that many properties in this area that ever come up. There's only a finite amount of them. Yeah. So we can put whatever price we want. To the point of like, the agents will say to me, this is the price. And I go, really? That's interesting. That's lovely. That's fun. That's nice. And then they go, but they'll take an offer, and it's like, I'm sure they will take an offer. And then it's like 200,000, 500,000. And you're like, well, what is the point? And some of these properties will sit there for a year, 2 years. And it's a sort of a psychological breakdown of that first initial price. Sometimes the agents have said, just to get the listing.
Yes.
That then they work it down to the price that it should be, and then it finally gets sold. And you think, why did you waste all that time?
Yes.
But it's
that's how they want the instruction.
It's the nuts. Yeah. It's totally nuts. And I was an ex-agent.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I do not understand.
In London?
In London.
Can I ask which firm?
You can. It was Fife McDade, which is not a corporate firm.
Fife McDade, I've never heard of them.
They are in East London and Central London, Bloomsbury.
I thought there wasn't an agent I didn't know in London.
Yeah.
I had, for a long time, I was doing professional photography floor plans for so many London agents. We had hundreds of clients, and we pitched. I thought we pitched everybody.
There's one you missed.
Don't remember that one.
So they do sort of warehouses, period properties.
Right. Okay.
And they were in Islington, Bloomsbury, and Shoreditch, but now they're just Shoreditch and Bloomsbury. Okay.
Any tips for first-time buyers on the Help to Buy Lisa would be appreciated, particularly whether or not it makes sense in London.
So I did help someone with a Lisa, if it is Lisa, who bought out in Bexley Heath, and it was when everyone was bidding crazy, and he kept missing out on tons of property, and we finally got something, which was brilliant. But the restraint of where you can buy for $450 in London it's insane. They need to increase it. Hopefully they will at some point, but who knows when. If you were looking outside of London, it's not so bad, but in London it is really tough.
Right, thank you very much for answering my viewers' questions. That was a fun discussion.